Boys and girls of the podcast here, the breakdown with BreakyCPK. Excited to be back here and excited to be going into our next segment here. I'm going to be giving him a call, the one, the only Sunsfan, to join us here on the podcast. Sunsfan.
Hello?
How's it going, man? How's it going? Welcome to the show.
BreakyCPK, the man, the legend.
No, that's you.
Living, breathing Han Caster himself. How's it going, dude?
Going pretty good. Happy to have you on. Thanks for all the praise. Always fun.
Anytime, dude. You helped me get my start in esports. You know, it's it's kind of nostalgic to think about, actually. The old Han days.
Han days, yeah. That's the
NASL.
past. Though, man.
I was just thinking about that the other day, how they crashed and burned so hard, but back in the day they were pretty legit. Like I remember, I don't know how you felt, but when we went to their offices, I was kind of blown away that I'm in an actual studio.
Yeah.
And then I got to know everybody, and they're just like us, and it's not very intimidating after that, but still pretty cool.
No, it was a fantastic experience. I definitely agree there, but I feel like they lived a bit longer than a lot of organizations do in esports. So there's that, and they did well. But yes, then
I
things
think
went down.
Their downfall was spending so much money on hardware that was not needed.
Yeah,
I think there was I forget what the device actually did, but it cost like $100K just for this piece of hardware.
Yeah,
that you don't even need. It was just like a luxury.
The TriCaster that they had, that could tend to be a little expensive there. So,
yep.
You are not Anti-Droid. You are Sunsfan. Gotta correct that.
Oh my goodness! How dare you?
All right, but happy to have you on here and to talk about actually things happening as of late here in the Dota 2 scene, and specifically you and your role with Team DC and everything. And I want to get right off the bat. I want to ask you: do you feel like DC deserved an invite to the DAC?
To DAC? Over EG, maybe. I think it's about even. Over other teams, absolutely. But I think it's a good thing, honestly. I don't think the guys were mad at all about it. I'm not mad about it. I think it's better for us to play more games anyway. I think the worst thing you could do when you're successful, because who knows how long that's going to last, is you need to keep yourself fresh. You need to be able to play these games. You can't just expect to get invites to every single tournament. So I'm okay with it. I think it's just one of those, it's a Chinese biased LAN.
Yeah,
I mean, that's pretty much simple as that. I think
EG's bigger.
The Chinese, what's that?
EG is big over there.
Yes, EG, they're loved and hated like none other, which is obviously a great storyline. I mean, I can kind of understand their perspective a bit, because you don't want to bring two NA teams, because after that you have NP, and that's a bit of a drop off after that. But they just wanted to ensure that they had what was it, half the teams? I haven't even looked at the list yet, but half the teams are probably Chinese, I'm guessing.
Yes.
So, not shocking.
Well, we were going over that because there was 4 invited teams, 2 of them were Chinese, and then their qualifiers. So there's 8 qualified teams. 4 of those are Chinese as well. That we just saw happen. So.
That was I think might be the exact same format as the original DAC. I wouldn't be surprised. Gotcha. So yeah, not surprising. Obviously, it would be cool to get direct invites, but if I can be perfectly honest, I kind of prefer this.
Yeah.
Keep the boys fresh. I don't like this whole complacency thing. Like you could say that about pretty much any, even in your own pub games, right? For me, as an example, you're up a little bit, you get a little cocky, you need to be brought back down a bit. And that's always a good thing for the mental state. Competitiveness.
I felt that lately. I went on it was 11-game winning streak. I felt like a god. I felt like an all-star, and I just couldn't lose. And then I realized that I could, and then I lost 4 games in a row. So it's the swings, man. You really gotta really be humble.
I hear you, man. I've been on many a streaks lately. This new patch is the high ground is really frustrating, I have to say. To the point where, in the past patches, you didn't really have to think about getting a high ground pusher or anything like that, because if you just snowball early game, you just win. Now, even if you snowball ridiculously hard in the early game, if you don't have somebody that can push a tower, I find it, at least in my level, it's very difficult to actually get barracks and push for the win.
Yeah.
Because just sitting back there with your shrines. They probably have like some freaking sniper or whatever other high ground amazing defense hero, and it makes me want to kill myself sometimes. But I refrain and I learn from my mistakes, and I pick like Dragon Knight and just win the game in 20 minutes. So.
Well, I mean, DC's not making mistakes lately, that's for sure. They won ESL 1 Genting, so obviously, first off, congratulations on that. You did very well there, Sunsfan. You did very well at that event.
Yep, all me, bro. All me.
No. But it was impressive to see that. They looked really good. Again, a lot of people consider this to be the first major LAN post 7.0. Were you happy with the way your team played? I mean, they won it, so I assume so.
Yeah, I think it was more of a mental thing at some point, especially for Resolution, actually, if I can be a little honest here. He was getting frustrated is not the right word. Every time I would talk to him after we'd like lose a tournament, even if we placed relatively well, like top 2 international, top 4 at the major, he'd always be kind of sad and down. He's like, man, just can't get that one win. And finally, we were able to do that. So I think it's kind of like getting a monkey off the back, so to speak. But yeah, I thought they played very well. I didn't know what to expect because they hadn't practiced a whole lot on the patch, but that's kind of been the case for a lot of the Western teams because of the holidays. I don't know if I wouldn't say I was super confident going against Newbie because as the commentators pretty much illustrated, that they've been practicing the crap out of this patch.
Yeah.
They played a lot. And I think the thing that brought us over the edge was the switch to Dire, which I think this is something that I kind of talked to them about. Maybe I'm trying to remember which team it was. Maybe it wasn't this team. Maybe it was the AUI team. But essentially trying to switch things up if you're down in a series, which is a very common, traditional sports method. Just messing with the enemy in some way if you don't feel like you're going to win. Because we were down 2-1, and the game that we won in that best of 5 was not like it was super close. And we played Radiant all 3 games, and then they looked at the situation like, you know what? Newbie's been playing Dire this entire freaking tournament. Let's make them prove that they can beat us on Radiant. So they had first pick, and they chose because they knew we wanted Dire. They knew that we wanted Radiant because we've been playing Radiant as well. So they chose either first or second pick. I can't remember which one they were prioritizing. And then we switched it up and chose Dire, took it from them, beat them game 4. And then the beauty of that is game 5, we get first choice what we want to do. So we just pick Dire right off the bat. And that's literally the difference, I think. Because both teams, as far as like execution and things of that nature, were pretty close, I would say. Just the Dire. Nobody understands this map, man. I don't understand it.
That's one of those many things that it's just taking time to get used to for these teams. And no doubt, I actually had Cart Dota on, I believe, last week show, and he actually brought up that same point that you're talking about the Dire switch up right there. So clearly something changed. It's kind of the halftime adjustments you can kind of relate it to.
I don't even know. See, that's the thing, though. Like, just because they picked Dire and they won with it, or the fact that Newbie was dominating on Dire the entire tournament, doesn't even necessarily mean that Dire is the more one-sided side. No. Because they could have just been practicing Dire only. You don't even know. And they were just really good at Dire, and they just hadn't practiced Radiant as much. But I know a lot of people, you're probably included, I know I am, when the patch came out, like, wow, Radiant actually has pretty decent advantage. They have Roche a lot closer to them. You can literally TP like 5 steps from Roche, essentially, which is crazy if you think about it.
It is.
It's never been anything like that.
Yeah. Really close to the pit right there. So, and it's got to be pretty satisfying overall that they won it with Centaur in the end, their final game.
Dude, I was so excited. I did not make the trip to Malaysia, which I regret now. I had to choose between Dota Pit and ESL. Obviously, ESL is a little bit of a bigger tournament, but I've already been to Malaysia, so I wanted to experience something new in Croatia, and I just can't travel that much. It just kills me. It really does.
Don't blame you.
So I chose Croatia, but the Centaur pick, it was like, 5 a.m., 6 a.m. here. I was going pretty crazy. It was kind of fitting, I guess.
Yeah.
Of course, he played it like the old Centaur, but I'll let it slide.
Come on. You can't have it all, man.
I mean, it's Moon, man. Like, I've been a fan of that guy since Han.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Speaking of Moon, I mean, NASL, speaking of that kind of ties it all in, right? That's where he got his big name.
That's where I met him for the first time.
Yeah.
I was a fan of his stream. This was like when streams were just like barely a new thing. He was a huge troll, as you know, and I was still relatively new to the scene. I didn't know what to expect. I hadn't met that many people in real life after meeting them online first, and he was a normal person. I was surprised. I remember thinking this, like, holy shit, you are literally the complete opposite as you are on stream, because he was an annoying piece of garbage on stream, even though I enjoyed watching him. But yeah, he has come a long way, because that was, as you know, his first time playing competitively. I think
that was his
Trout,
breakout.
right?
Yeah.
What team was that?
Put him in a spot now for that. Jeez, that was.
It was. I remember the finals were like the Lions, right, with Era.
Yes, it was that Lions crew. Yes.
And Loda was there with Ake. I forget what team they were on.
Online Kingdom, maybe.
Maybe.
Might have been.
Yeah,
Online
that
Kingdom.
sounds familiar.
TMSR. Were they TMSR? Was that it? God,
that does not sound familiar.
That doesn't sound familiar. Okay, so.
But it was Moon Meander, Tralfamador, and I can't remember who else. Was Swindles there? I think Swindles.
He might have been there. That might have been early for him too. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so
Man,
long ago.
old school.
Yeah.
Freaking old school.
Well, so I mean, touching on Moon Meander a little bit more here is obviously he's been a part of DC now for a little bit. You mentioned it seems like he's come along with the team very well. I mean, how is he fitting in? Do you feel like he's the offlaner that you're looking for and fitting well?
Oh, he's terrible. We're definitely cutting him.
Inside news breaking.
I think the thing that he brought to the table that we were lacking. I don't know if you remember the interview from Ti, but this is something that we talked with Misery about like way before Ti, is that he just didn't like being in-game shot caller or a leader because it's just too much pressure. There's some truth to that. I think he's not giving himself enough credit. Obviously, he's a very good captain, as has been illustrated here in the latest few weeks at least. But he just needs somebody else that talks and can call stuff in game, and that wasn't really happening. Like Resolution was kind of he's a quiet carry. Weehaw, he can make calls at times, but it's not like super consistent, especially in scrims. My God, that's another story though. And then off lane, you need somebody that is a playmaker that is gonna call things very confidently, and he has a wide variety of heroes he can choose. And Moon, he can literally pick a freaking Omni Knight off lane. I mean, it's ridiculously good.
Yeah. Resolution, another player on your team, in case you forgot. He recently played at the WESG. Now, is there part of you, being in your spot, were you a little hesitant to allow that to happen, or were you all for it? You're okay. You're like, yeah, go for it.
I don't think there was any. No, not really. I mean, I thought about the ideas. Like, that's kind of weird, but the entire tournament's kind of weird. It's just, It feels like it's a for fun tournament with a lot of fucking money, which is a weird combination. But it wasn't a huge investment as far as time commitment from him, so it's not a big deal. Sad to see him not place very highly, but I mean, tournaments like that are just super inconsistent, and I mean, I didn't even know. Like, I've obviously heard that it was going. I didn't even know when it was or who was covering it.
Same.
And I think the biggest mistake they made. I mean, there's a lot of mistakes. Let's be real. Just the idea of doing something like that is super difficult to pull off, especially in a scene where organizations, like ours, as a perfect example, 5 different nationalities on the roster. So you're not going to get a full team in most cases. But I don't know. It's a tough format to pull off. But the fact that it was in China really really made it horrible, I think.
Yep.
Made it not as interesting for the Westerners at the very least. So.
Yeah, no American team. I was talking about that. No Canadian, no American team, even because of the issues that they had with the qualifier. So it's like it felt for us. It just felt a little off. From
the Canadian side, I think Moon was talking to me about this. Even if they could get the visa issues worked out, I don't think they even wanted to go. It was. I think they had to go to South America.
Yes, it was Brazil.
And they just didn't. It didn't match up with what they wanted. So I don't even know if the visas even mattered in the end, but who knows.
All right, well, so he played in that. Unfortunately, Team Ukraine did not do so hot.
What did they even place anyway?
She's not top 8. I'm pretty sure. I mean, I could double check here real quick. They placed. Yeah, they were all the way down here, 13th through 16th. Yeah, they didn't get any prize pool, unfortunately, so they did not make it out of groups somehow.
That's too bad.
Yeah,
That was a stacked team too.
that was.
That just goes to show that it's not all talent. Chemistry is a huge deal.
Oh yeah.
It's like USA basketball is a perfect example. What was it, 10 years ago? They would just, all right, you're an all-star, let's get on the team, and then they actually lost in Olympics. And they've since taken it a lot more seriously. They actually practice in the summers. Still not ideal considering the teams you're playing against, in terms of USA basketball at least. They play together pretty much the entire year, minus 1 or 2 players, but they can usually overcome with their athletic ability for the most part.
Yes, that was that they were going through phases though where they were just having like college players join the team because they stopped kind of caring about it, and then they realized, okay, maybe we need to try a little harder. Well, that's good. But enough about that. The Dota Pit LAN coming up. So you've hinted. So you're going to be going to that?
Yes.
Nice. You looking forward to it?
Yeah, I hear Croatia is nice. We'll see. They're pretty good teams going. So I guess never mind. I guess I'm not allowed to say who we're playing unless it's been announced.
It has been announced. There were tweets about it, actually, I think.
Okay.
So
should be good based on our first matchup. Should be interesting at the very least. And from the looks of it, I think the lower bracket is all best of 1. Not sure if that's a typo, but
yeah,
it's interesting. So
Wikipedia
that'll keep things exciting for the viewers at least.
You play Team Secret, by the way. Yeah. So for those that are wondering, Team Secret.
Yeah. Hopefully the weather will be nice over there. So get to enjoy that.
Yeah. So that'll be a fun event to follow up with. Obviously the ESL one Genting. See how the momentum continues there with that tournament. But it is a pretty stacked event. So I was going to preview that in a little bit here after having you on here, but. The American region, kind of going back to that real quickly, you mentioned, so you guys are going to have to qualify through the American region for the DAC now. I've talked about how it's becoming a little more of a gauntlet. It's not, the American region, I feel like it's stepping up in lately when it comes to the competition. You have Wanted now, you have Team Onyx, you have, Complexity NP. What do you think of the American region lately, and has it advanced, do you feel?
Of course. It used to be a complete pile of shit, so... Definitely better than that. I mean, some of those teams, like the PPD team and the Bulba team, you have no idea what to expect. They're kind of wild cards to some degree. Complexity, step up from that just because of consistency. NP is legitimately very good. And then obviously us and EG. So it's better than, what was it, a year ago when we participated in the qualifiers for TI, they didn't even have enough teams to invite to actually fill out the 8 team or however many teams it was. So it's definitely improved. And I think a lot of that probably has to do with the fact that EG and DC, even though DC obviously has a lot of Euros on it, they're both NA orgs and they both have done extremely well. I think that might have something to do with it. I could be horribly wrong. But I'm more interested to see what happens with was it TI or, I can't remember if it was a major or TI, but this has a South American region that you have to qualify through.
Yes.
Because I can guarantee you one of those, I'm not going to call them lower echelon teams, but like the Onyx or the Wanted, a team like that is going to end up going to South America. I guess they technically don't have to go there. They can, so they won't get invited, right, to the regionals.
No. So
they'll win the Open on whatever servers the South Americans would play on. They'll probably win because everybody's banned that's good in South America. And they'll just play the South American qualifiers. That's what's going to happen. I can guarantee it. And if they don't do it, they're actually dumb. They should do that. They should use everything at their disposal to try to get to TI.
We saw a little bit of that in the Boston Major, obviously, with Europe coming over to the American qualifiers and playing in the American. So that kind of opened that door, that Pandora's box, you can call it. So, I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. I will say, South America, I've been casting some American region teams. There's some decent teams. Infamous, one that comes to mind. They're legitimate, but
I think the two, what is it, Smash and I'm gonna
Van
Z-Talk.
Z-Talk, yeah,
are the 2 players that have been banned for life.
Yeah,
which was a huge hit to the South American scene. I think the teams, there's a couple of decent teams like you're saying, but they're missing 2 enormous stars, and that does take its toll. So I think I'm not saying that an NA team is going to win the South American region, but they're going to try.
Yeah.
And they'll put up a fight at the very least. It's not going to be like the Euros for the qualifiers that you're talking about, because they got stomped. They got raffle stomped.
They did, yeah.
I don't think any of them even made it. I think they just got last place completely, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, they made it to the Open qualifier, but then the actual main part, didn't do as well. So cool. So real quickly too, before we wrap up here, what are you with DC? Like, what is your official title with DC?
Owner.
So the owner.
Co-owner, I guess. We have some investors. So.
Well, you got PPD's situation recently. He just became CEO of Evil Geniuses. If there was advice that you could give to somebody like PPD, what would it be?
Okay. For PPD, I would say if you're going to be, again, I don't know how much staff he has and all that good stuff and how much he delegates, but if you're going to be working with the Dota players in particular, show patience, because sometimes the things they ask for can make you question your life, essentially. Especially for somebody like PPD, who I know probably, at least so I've heard, has a short fuse. But again, he probably has like staff just going to be doing most of that stuff anyway. I'm talking about like for me, the first year I put in a ton of work through the team by doing stuff that typically an owner wouldn't be doing anyway. Like literally just getting them food and stuff like that, which long term I definitely didn't want to do, but you do what you got to do to get your org running. But EG is obviously in a different state, and again, he's CEO. I don't even know what that means, though.
That's fair.
I don't know what that means, because he could have tons of staff. The fact that he's playing on a team means that maybe he doesn't have as much to do anymore. I don't know exactly. But yeah, it should be interesting to see what happens. I think that he's kind of taken it's kind of a traditional sports mentality with like retired players becoming owners. NBA, for example. So we'll see what happens. Should be interesting.
It absolutely should be. You're a sports guy yourself. We've seen a lot of sports organizations getting more and more involved in esports, some NBA teams. There's been some football clubs from other countries. I mean, what do you think about all that going on? Do you think it's overall good for the scene?
Well, I sent a letter to the Phoenix Suns, so we'll see what happens.
I think would be something.
I think it's pretty cool. That would be the dream, honestly. But no, like Magic Johnson getting involved. Who is it? The 76ers, the Warriors. I think the Rockets maybe. There are a couple other teams I can't remember right off the top of my head, but Miami Heat just got Misfits, I think. I think it's freaking awesome. It's gonna. So here's the thing. There's two sides of this coin. So there's going to be a lot of money coming in the scene, which is great for everybody. And the second thing, which has been an issue in the past, which I don't think is going to be as much anymore, are these investors coming in and then trying to control things when they don't actually understand the scene at all.
Yeah.
That's the big thing that I think a lot of these teams actually understand now, which is great. So I have high hopes, and I think eventually every single NBA team will be invested in something. It's just a matter of time. So we'll see. And I just mentioned NBA because I don't follow anybody else. Let's be real.
Well, isn't Phoenix moving to Mexico City though?
What?
Didn't they just they played a game in Mexico City recently?
Yeah,
and
that's not a Phoenix. That's the NBA. They want this cross-border interaction.
All right. Thought I heard Phoenix. All right.
That would be just awful. My God, I actually wonder if they moved, if I would even be a fan of them anymore. Oh, that would just tear me apart. I can't imagine what the Supersonic fans felt when their team moved to Oklahoma.
I swear I thought you were taking a stab at me there for a second.
What?
Because I am a San Diego Chargers
LA Chargers now?
A Chargers fan as of a couple of days ago.
So how do you feel? Is it LA? I can't remember.
It's Los Angeles now, yes.
So how do you feel?
Moved to LA.
Tell me all your emotions. I'm interested.
I feel like shit. I feel like I'm not a fan of the team anymore. The owner betrayed the city of San Diego, and
how long was he an owner? Is he a new owner?
He's not necessarily a newer owner. He's been around. The Spanos family has been around for a while. He himself took over like 15 years ago or something like that. But
Okay.
Overall, they've been around for a while, but it's 56 years, I think it was, that the team's been in San Diego, and it's like, all right, we're done. City doesn't
So
want to pay for a stadium.
Are you just done with them?
I'm done with them, yeah. I'm
Like, you've been a fan your entire life?
Yep.
I'm guessing.
Born and raised.
And you're definitely not going to watch their games? Or is that just something you're feeling now and you might end up doing it?
I'll be curious to see how they do. I'm not going to go out of my way to watch their games like maybe I would before. I also moved away from San Diego, like 6 years ago now, so I don't have that connection as much anymore. A lot of my family's moved. So it's like it has slowly been maybe deteriorating a little bit, and so now I'm a full-blown Lions fan, Detroit Lions here.
Oh, my.
So
okay.
It's quite the step up as far as what I've now become.
Yeah, I can't imagine what that would be like. I mean, even the past 3 years, maybe I haven't been as hardcore of a fan of the Suns as I have in the past, just because I've been working a lot more and they've been coincidentally sucking balls as well. But yeah, that would be rough. I don't know.
Tough life. Well, I think you're good. I think the Suns are sticking around.
According to you, they're going to freaking Mexico. Good Lord.
I may have heard something.
We're not even losing them to another state. It's another fucking country.
Literally leaving the country. Literally going south. All right. Anyways, Suns fan, obviously I want to appreciate, or thank you, I should say, for coming on the podcast here and joining me talking to some fun stuff. Any shout-outs, anything else you want to say before?
Shout out to the great BreakyCPK. Keep up the good work, bro.
Thank you.
Your transition to Dota 2 was a long time coming, and I wish you the best, friend.
I appreciate that, Suns fan. Always a pleasure to talk to, and have fun, obviously, in Croatia this weekend. Best of luck to DC.
Thanks. See ya.
See you later. All right, so that was Suns fan.